This is Group 1's individual presentation. Welcome to CU at South. The presentation is structured similarly to our large group presentation. First, we will introduce you to our team before diving into our investigation of Hatfield and the various resources that informed our design process. And finally, we will present our project proposal for the targeted site. Our team consists of myself, Robin, Matthew, Narissa, Kirsten, and Dante. As previously mentioned, our targeted context is within Hatfield, focusing on blocks 4 and 5 between Jan Schauber and UP Sports Campus. We focus on these 2.5 blocks as our site, while also exploring potential spillover into the surrounding area that maximizes the benefits of the proposal for the surrounding environment. Our proposal acts to counteract key issues identified in the large group mapping, particularly the car-dominated nature of the area and heavy vehicular traffic along Jan Schauber Street, which hinder pedestrian movement and user experience. Hatfield also faces security concerns due to reported crime, necessitating interventions for improved security. Additionally, several public spaces are neglected or underutilized, presenting opportunities for revitalization. While the area features diverse land use and zoning, their implementation appears fragmented and dispersed. Lastly, although high-density developments exist, many are enclosed by high walls, failing to engage with the street and diminishing the experience of the public realm. In summary, it can be determined that Hatfield lacks a sense of place, leading to fragmented and impersonal urban environments. Despite its strategic location and proximity to the university, the area struggles with weak identity, poor spatial cohesion, and a lack of well-defined public spaces that foster social interaction, community engagement, and a sense of belonging. The absence of these qualities limits the area's potential to develop as a vibrant, inclusive, and memorable urban district. The following section establishes the theoretical foundation for our proposal, shaping our design strategies and interventions. The literature read presented various strategies for successful urban planning. As the base of our framework, our proposal investigates how to define a strong sense of place for Hatfield, focusing on nature and an education-based identity. To understand the sense of place, we investigated placemaking as an overarching theory. Placemaking is a human-centered approach to urban design that focuses on transforming spaces into meaningful, engaging, and socially vibrant spaces. It enhances both the physical and experiential qualities of space. In Hatfield, applying placemaking strategies can counter its transient nature by fostering a strong sense of place. By creating various public spaces for gathering, recreation, and learning, the site can encourage community development and increase social interactions and connections. Through the promotion of economic diversity and providing necessary services, the site can provide economic value. And lastly, improved streetscapes, multifunctional plazas, green spaces, educational programming, and productive landscapes will strengthen cohesion and engagement ecologically. Ultimately, through placemaking, the site has the potential to evolve into a thriving, inclusive hub where people naturally want to stay, connect, and contribute.
After identifying our concerns, we identified these key strategies to address these 5 points. Our goal is to create a space with a distinct identity by incorporating both new and old buildings, using a variety of building shapes, colors, and programs, as well as adding landmarks that will help as wayfinding and act as points of attraction. We will address the lack of safety by providing better safety measurements, such as lighting, passive surveillance, and active facades. We will address the lack of pedestrian design by slowing down traffic, incorporating public transport nodes, providing better parking solutions, and promoting non-motorized transport, allowing for more walkability on site. We will address the lack of natural spaces by incorporating green corridors, courtyards, and urban gardens. We will address the lack of gathering spaces by incorporating smaller retail spaces, as well as markets, restaurants, and cafes. After identifying our key strategies, we identified 3 precedents that incorporate similar strategies into their design. By analyzing these precedents, we can identify how these strategies have been implemented successfully and how they can inform our decisions. These precedents were identified ranging in scale from macro to micro. For our macro scale, we identified Stellenbosch University in the Western Cape, Hazelwood in Pretoria for our meso scale, and Burnett Street in Hatfield for our micro scale. On a macro scale, we analysed Stellenbosch University in the Western Cape. Its campus layout and integration into the surrounding city provided valuable insights into how we can approach the expansion of our own city campus model. By studying its spatial organization, connectivity, and urban relationships, we can extract key lessons for our design. One of the key strengths of Stellenbosch is the relationship between the campus and the greater town planning. Stellenbosch campus incorporates several strategies that allows for a seamless integration between town and gown. These strategies include the incorporation of green corridors, transport routes that connect important nodes, the balance between heritage and contemporary architecture that adds to the character of the space, as well as the diversity in building typology and architectural language. The town's active nightlife and pedestrian-friendly design creates a vibrant and engaging environment. On a mesoscale, we examined Hazelwood in Pretoria. Hazelwood is a mixed-use neighbourhood that blends commercial, residential, and social spaces. By analysing its design strategies, we can explore how similar principles can be applied to our design approach. Hazelwood seamlessly combines aspects of urban and suburban design. Hazelwood serves as a landmark and a point of attraction for surrounding neighbourhoods. The incorporation of small-scale retail supports local businesses and creates a more intimate and community-driven atmosphere. Hazelwood has a strong sense of place by incorporating a variety of design aesthetics achieved through the combination of new and repurposed buildings, as well as different materials and building uses. By incorporating traffic calming strategies, Hazelwood creates a safer and more pedestrian-friendly space. At a microscale, we selected Burnett Street in Hatfield as a precedent. Burnett Street is a very active space with a constant flow of pedestrian and vehicular traffic. By analysing Burnett Street, we can identify how it addresses the relationship between the people and their environment. Burnett Street is a mixed-use space and incorporates a variety of programs along the street's edge that ensures continuous activity throughout the site. The diversity in building sizes and forms adds to the dynamic urban fabric. Burnett Street serves as a node for public transport such as taxis and buses. This enhances the overall connectivity and accessibility of the site. Additionally, parked cars act as buffering between pedestrian and moving traffic, improving the overall walkability and safety of the site.
Inspired by Poe's vision of the city as a living organism, CU itself embodies this concept, involving organically and taking on a life of its own. The central tree-lined path acts as a spine, while the courtyard and landmarks form the heart of activity, and where users become the lungs, breathing life into the space as they gather, engage, and create meaningful connections. The master plan aims to respond to the larger context of Hatfield, identifying opportunities and proposing strategies focused on transport, landscape, and public spaces. The general area of focus is located between the two campuses, with Jan Schober as the main road of vehicular transport running through the area. The site of our urban intervention is situated east of Jan Schober, touching Hillcrest campus. Starting with the transportation strategy, Hatfield is served by a railway line, with Gautrain and Hartbeespoort metro station as the key drop-off points. University buses connect the campuses, while the Gautrain and metro buses run along Jan Schober, with bus stops placed all throughout. However, the metro currently only has an exit to the north, lacking easy access to the south. Our transportation strategy proposes a new metro exit to the south with a bus stop, a public transport node along Jan Schober, and a bus stop at Hillcrest campus entrance. A new bus route will be connecting the metro directly to the site, improving accessibility. Moving on to the landscaping strategy, the main challenges is connecting the two campuses, with Hillcrest being the primary source of green spaces. Problematic zones such as derelict areas and concrete islands interrupt green corridors. Our landscaping strategy begins with expanding the greenery from Hillcrest campus to create a public park. We propose transforming derelict spaces into green areas and extending the tree line, bridging the gap, and creating green corridors linking the campuses. For the public space strategy, currently public spaces are fenced off and have restricted access. While there are abundance of activity spaces like shopping centres and restaurants, they all require spending money to enjoy. The transportation and landscaping strategies overlap with the public space strategies. The proposed public transport node, the public green spaces, and the extension of Hillcrest campus creates opportunity for new and accessible public spaces. By combining our transport, landscaping, and public space strategies, we envision 3 main nodes on the site: a public transport hub on Jan Schober, a new central open space, and an extension of the Hillcrest campus that will be open for the public to enjoy. We will then tackle our proposal for the mesoscale. We completed many BUMF design iterations where we considered what would be suitable for the framework and appropriate response to the site. The initial iteration had ideas we like, such as traffic interventions, the creation of courtyards where buildings define the spaces, designated parking areas, small retail topologies over large mall topology, the forming of green corridors, and the variety in spaces and shapes of buildings. We translated these ideas to the 3D form of a maquette, allowing us to see what worked and what didn't in terms of spatial relationships and the massing of our buildings. Interventions such as slowing down traffic measures were introduced at Jan Schober Street to cater for the high pedestrian traffic and create safer pedestrian conditions. Deriving moments where there's a good dialogue between the architecture and natural landscapes, these being realized in our proposed green corridors. Furthermore, we developed strong moments where the relationship between the user and natural landscape or infrastructure was solid and interesting. Our second iteration involved strengthening the ideas that worked and working on the ideas that were weak.
Our architectural strategy was developed at a mesoscale while using the site plan's axiality and zoning. Our first informant was the existing tree line with their prominent canopies. This naturally formed a spine or artery that traversed through the site. This would form our primary green corridor through the site, connecting the two campuses. Following this, we branched outwards from the central spine to our entry points into the site, as well as other nodes in or bordering our site. To simplify this diagrammatically, our plan is dictated by the central natural spine. This spine is cut by the prominent roads that pass through the site. We divided the big blocks into smaller sub-blocks by creating secondary circulation routes. It was then about connecting existing and potential densities that border our site. These connections form strong diagonal corridors or streets across the site. We agreed that one should be a more pedestrian-orientated street, the perpendicular one, whilst the other, the diagonal one, functions as an access road into the site, only used when emergencies occur. We then created more walkways by connecting the midpoints of the blocks to their corners. We integrated the existing open green space into our proposal, transforming it into an urban agriculture community park. All these informants overlaid gave us this plan, which would inform us as to where our building footprints would be found and their relationships to these guidelines. Using this plan, we could identify where major overlaps or junctions occurred. We then took those plans and developed a zoning map centered around those moments of gathering. That zoning was translated into this bubble diagram, which assisted us in arranging relationships between our programs. Ultimately, the site would consist of mixed-use developments that would consist of residential units or offices above, and active programs on the ground floor. The zoning diagram led to the block east of Jan Schober Street being a more high-density urban block, and the second block leading to LC de Villiers, characterized by its more neighborhood, low-density condition. The buildings would consist of diverse dynamic building typologies and functions that could facilitate the revitalization of the area and create vibrant streetscapes. Our proposal embraces densification to accommodate Hatfield's growth while avoiding a canyon-like effect by carefully stepping densities. This ensures high-density areas do not overpower low-density ones, preserving the user urban experience. Additionally, the program transitions from high-density, high-activity public areas to calmer, lower-density public areas. Our final major iteration addressed the issue of the second block by giving it its own character, yet tying in with the proposal strategies regarding placemaking through gathering spaces.
Thus, we developed our proposal into a final design resolution. Breaking down the overall design, we started by identifying existing buildings that we are keeping. We identified the spine that would be running through the site. The spine was informed by the green corridor. It would serve as a pedestrian highway, creating a connection between the two ends of our site. We also identified vehicle and pedestrian routes, informed by spatial arrangements and building masses. We created green pockets of different sizes throughout our design, creating a variety of spaces and experiences for the users. We also assigned different building programs throughout our site, creating a variety of uses that would draw a wide variety of people. The overall synthesized plan, indicating the implementation of strategies on the site. We took sections through the site to indicate massing. This section through the site shows the density of the proposal from Jan Schober to Hillcrest campus. The density is higher close to Jan Schober and starts to lower in density towards the river. Buildings range between 4 and 10 stories at the high density part of the site, with the lower density existing buildings on the site being kept at 1 story. Looking at the infrastructure strategy for transport, we focused on Jan Schober Street.
To make this transient space more pedestrian-friendly, the traffic at Jan Scholbe has been slowed and pedestrian movement has been prioritized. A transport node was added to the site for buses and shuttles to park. Bus stops are integrated on both sides of Jan Scholbe, creating safe and convenient access to the site. By adding raised pedestrian crossings and changing the road material, the traffic is slowed down. Sidewalks are made wider with the green buffer separating the road and sidewalk. Green islands between lanes create shorter walking distances for pedestrians. The public spaces strategy can be experienced with perspective views. Courtyards are defined by building shapes with the spine, or wooden walkway, running through the space with planters that can function as seating. People can move through the space using the spine or paved spaces between buildings. Paved areas outside buildings allow for spill out onto the public spaces, activating these courtyards with cafe seating or markets. The community gardens allow people to engage with the site, exchange knowledge, and use the produce in nearby restaurants. The public park allows people to use the space as they wish, enriching the multifunctional site with diverse activities. Lush green spaces with the integrated spine walkway create serene shaded spaces within the urban landscape. The varying thickness of the walkway creates spaces for users to rest or converse. The LC Public Park connects Hillcrest campus with the rest of a proposed site, creating a calm space with meandering pathways between workshops and small retail stores.
In conclusion, currently the site is underutilized, lacking a cohesive identity and struggling with transients, fragmented spaces, and an imbalance in density distribution. Incremental development led by the university can bridge the campus with its surroundings, introducing pedestrian-friendly streets, vibrant public spaces, and gradual densification to enhance the area's livability. Over time, this precinct can become a model for sustainable urban growth in Pretoria and beyond, demonstrating how thoughtful densification, placemaking, and community-driven design can transform urban environments into inclusive, dynamic, and enduring spaces. Reflecting on the process, this proposal is a strong first step toward improving Hatfield, balancing potential with real-world challenges. While not perfect, it reflects key lessons that will refine future projects and shape our evolving design approaches. And as always, collaboration proves that diverse perspectives create better outcomes. Thank you. This concludes our presentation.